Did you know that Florida is home to countless small-town gems with access to miles of sandy beaches, private islands, state parks full of wildlife, quaint downtowns, and little to no crowds ever? With excellent weather, an abundance of job opportunities, and an absence of state income tax, Florida is a very attractive place for families, retirees, and younger couples to settle down, and today on Across the Globe, we'll be taking a look at 12 of the best small-town gems that Florida has to offer. Number 12, Micanopy. Stepping into the town of Micanopy is like entering a time machine. It's one of the oldest towns in the state and has a tiny population of less than 1,000 residents. Micanopy is an incredibly rural town and is great for anyone who loves to live around nature, especially considering it is home to a state park. Every street is lined with old oak trees, while its Paynes Prairie Preserve State Park is home to wild horses, bison, and over 300 different species of birds. In the heart of the town, you'll find quaint antique shops and locally owned restaurants. It's great for a day out, but when the sun goes down, you'll find that the town's nightlife is virtually non-existent. This makes Micanopy a great town for retirees or families, but doesn't lend itself as well to younger couples looking to burn the candle at both ends. Buying a home in Micanopy is about 7% cheaper than the national average, and you can expect to pay under $900 a month in rent. Number 11, Vero Beach. Hugging the coast and boasting a subtropical climate that'll keep you warm year-round, Vero Beach is the perfect town for any ocean lover to settle down. Vero Beach residents opt for a chilled and quiet lifestyle, relaxing in the summer heat on the uncrowded beach or taking a stroll through a local farmer's market is about as hectic as it gets. Vero Beach is also a small town and pretty much everything is within walking distance of each other. Being so close together, the local community is also very tight-knit, and you'll find the majority of shops to be locally owned. The quiet lifestyle makes Vero Beach a great place for families to call home, and it's made even more attractive when you consider that house prices are around 17% lower than the national average. However, if you're looking to experience the hustle and bustle of inner-city life, the laid-back nature of Vero Beach may not appeal to you. The job opportunities are also far from excellent, so this town will likely appeal most to digital nomads or retirees. Number 10. Glen Cove. Like Vero Beach, Glen Cove is situated right on the coast and is home to a stretch of beautiful beaches that remain well-kept and quiet year-round. The main selling point of Glen Cove is, of course, its beaches and surrounding woodlands. You can easily spend all day trekking through the tree line or swimming in the ocean before refueling at a local restaurant, which are plentiful. If you ever get bored of swimming or exploring the local woodlands, you'll be able to get to Orlando City Center in about an hour by car. There are literally thousands of things to do here, so you'll never be short of a fun-filled weekend. Unfortunately, Glen Cove does suffer from frequent natural disasters, notably hurricanes and tropical storms. Property prices are also very high, with a median figure of $490,000. Number 9. Nomus. Nomus is another town built for outdoor enthusiasts who prefer the quieter side of life. Nomus draws the majority of its popularity from its spanning stretch of beaches, which are some of the most beautiful in Florida. The beaches are particularly renowned for surfing. When you're not in the water, Nomus has a variety of quaint attractions to visit, such as the Cottage Art Gallery and the local art market. You can cap off the day with a meal at a local restaurant overlooking the ocean. You'll find particularly good seafood at these restaurants, and most of the ingredients are locally sourced. The only real downside is that Nomus is an expensive place to live in. The average house, for instance, is 22% more expensive than the national average, while the cost of living is 6% above average. This does make Nomus better suited to those with more established incomes rather than young buyers trying to get onto the property ladder. Number 8. Lake Catherine. Lake Catherine is situated at the heart of Florida and reaches a fine balance of both urban and rural living. The town of Lake Catherine itself is very rural and community-based. Most restaurants are locally run, for instance, and the main attractions center around the natural landmarks like the local hiking trails and, of course, Lake Catherine itself. However, just an hour or so away lies the city of Orlando, which is extremely urban and full of activities, restaurants, and other amenities. Because Lake Catherine is so close to Orlando, there are plenty of job opportunities in a variety of sectors. The cost of living is pretty low too, with the average home being worth around $350,000. This makes Lake Catherine a great choice for younger individuals or couples looking to advance their careers and save some money in the process. Number 7. Cedar Key. Cedar Key is the smallest town on this list, with a population of less than 700. However, it's still incredibly charming and a great place for quiet living, making for an excellent retirement destination. Located in Levy County, Cedar Key is an incredibly rural town, and many of its buildings are actually built on the water itself, giving it a very quaint aesthetic. You'll only find a couple of local restaurants here, and most residents pass the time fishing, overlooking the ocean, or walking in the Florida sunshine. The big problem with Cedar Key is how far out it is. The closest city is over an hour away, and a drive to Orlando will take the best part of 3 hours. However, Cedar Key has plenty to offer in itself, so that shouldn't be a deal breaker. Number 6. Frostproof. Another excellent town for families to consider is Frostproof. Sitting over the Reedy Lake in central Florida, it's a small, community-driven town with extremely low house prices and great transport links. The town itself contains about 2 restaurants, a small theater, and a museum. However, you won't be short on activities, as Orlando's theme parks are only about an hour and a half away by car. Tampa is also pretty close, and you'll be able to get there in under 2 hours. But by far the most attractive quality of Frostproof is how cheap the housing is. An average rental will cost just $638 per month, and the average home $145,300, which is nearly half of the national average. And with rent this cheap, you'll have plenty of extra income to spend as you please. Considering the house prices and location, Frostproof is also a fine choice for retirees to kick back and enjoy retirement. Number 5. Mount Dora. Mount Dora is located in the heart of Florida, and like Lake Catherine, is most known for being a lake town. As a result, it's an excellent place to go if you love water activities. A day spent on the river is the norm for the people of Mount Dora, followed by a quiet lunch in a local cafe or restaurant. Mount Dora is also a hub for arts and culture, with a local museum, regular art exhibits, and an annual festival which attracts some 200,000 visitors every year. The cost of living in Mount Dora is below both the Florida and the national average, with the town's median rent sitting at $1,588 per month. So, with that said, it's not an expensive town to live in by any means, and you'll be able to live comfortably here on an average income, though a large portion of its residents are retirees. Number 4. Odessa. Perhaps the best small town in Florida for families to consider is Odessa. Originally a timber and cattle plantation, Odessa is now a thriving little town with a great community and excellent infrastructure. Odessa is ideally situated within driving distance of Tampa, the coast, and Starkey Ranch. This means that you'll be able to take the kids to the beach every weekend, commute to a city job, and visit Starkey Ranch's nature reserves comfortably without the need to drive for hours every day. Both home and rent prices are very reasonable here too. Housing prices are pretty even with the national average, while cost of living is about 1% cheaper than the average figures. Finally, Odessa is well renowned for its safety. The population is fairly small at approximately 7,500. And there's a real sense of community throughout the town. This only heightens Odessa's suitability for families with younger kids. Number 3. Sanibel. Sanibel is a picturesque town situated on a barrier island between the Gulf of Mexico and mainland Florida. Its location is its biggest selling point. Particularly in the summer, the town looks more like a holiday resort than a residential area. The local community is incredibly important to the people of Sanibel, and aside from a single Dairy Queen, every business is locally run. The local seafood is apparently particularly good. Being situated on a barrier island does come with its dangers, however. Notably, hurricanes can be more severe. The island is also home to a lot of wildlife, including alligators, which makes it less than ideal if you're looking for an urban place to live. However, one caveat is that it is also one of the more expensive places to live in Florida, with a median average home price of $1.3 million. The cost of living is also more expensive, and while there are doctors, there are no hospitals, and also no wholesale stores or even high schools in sight, which may not be an issue depending on your situation. Number 2. Isla Marada. Situated in the heart of the Florida Keys, the island town of Isla Marada is yet another picture-perfect rural town that could easily be mistaken for a holiday resort. Referred to as the fishing capital of the world, Isla Marada is a great place for any avid fisherman or seafood lover. The surrounding waters are also home to coral reefs and ancient shipwrecks, which make for great scuba diving locations. Living in Isla Marada is pretty expensive. Average rent prices sit at $2,700 per month, while the average home is worth over $1.3 million. As a result, the population is on the older side, and it doesn't lend itself to be a great family town, but that might be perfect for some people. Number 1. St. George Island. If you liked the look of Sanibel but want something even more expensive and luxurious, look no further than St. George Island. With a population of just 970, St. George feels more like a private island than a town, and the abundance of mansions and private tennis courts only add to this exclusive vibe. The main town is home to high-end art shops, boutiques, and restaurants, all of which are locally owned. In fact, you won't see a single chain business across the island. However, this is also one of the most expensive places to live in Florida, with the average home being worth the best part of $2 million. Due to these extremely high prices, St. George Island is best reserved for highly paid remote workers or married couples looking to settle down and enjoy their retirement. Families on average incomes or young couples, on the other hand, will probably want to steer clear. What about the worst towns to live in Florida?